It's great to speak with you today, Mark. Today to hearing your views on the topic of training people in developing countries on environmental health and safety. Can you first provide a brief background of yourself?
Sure. I am the managing principal of the Phylmar Group. Phylmar Group's a peer peer advisory organization. Actually, we run 3 different groups in the area of occupational health and safety, in restricted substances list of the supply chain of apparel and footwear companies, and then we also are involved in the biopharma area. And my specific background, I'm trained in occupational health and safety as an industrial hygienist, and we've been doing this for about I've been doing this for about 30 years.
Great. Well, a little bit of a background. I understand that one of the key issues in the developing world regarding environmental health and safety, when organizations and companies do supply chain audits, that there are some problems. Can you talk about the problems and whether or not these audits are effective?
Sure. I mean, there's some benefits to these audits. They do uncover some issues as far as they're fairly obvious. But what we've seen, certainly recently in areas like Bangladesh and some areas of Asia, that they do miss a lot of things. And the problem is we're just going in, they're taking a quick snapshot. So they're not able to spend long periods of time. They're trying to cover a lot of areas. So there are some definite gaps in the approach that the audit brings as well.
Well, how do you address this problem?
So one of the ways that more recently that people are looking at is something in what we call capacity building. In other words, we're trying to train individuals who are workers who are in the locations or the locales, get them hired so that you have someone in the factory of the supplier who understands the environmental health and safety area and can bring that expertise to bear on an ongoing basis as opposed to just a little bit here and a little bit there. So that's one of the solutions, if you will, of this issue of supply chain environmental health and safety, compliance.
And do you have any examples that you could share regarding some success?
Yes, as a matter of fact, one in particular is the Occupational Hygiene Training Association. This is an international group, actually begun by British Petroleum and GlaxoSmithKline, because they had this issue of not having the expertise where they needed it. So the association was begun, and they developed a number of courses, primarily focused on, say, industrial hygiene and occupational hygiene, developed originally by the University of Wollongong in Australia. These courses are typically 5-day courses. They cover a multitude of industrial hygiene issues, from exposure assessment for noise and dust and chemical agents to some ergonomics and some other areas now. And what they've trained hundreds of people now and going through the process, where in some cases some of these courses have been and will be accepted as college credit or even graduate school credit, so that the individual can move from either a technician level all the way on up to a master's level person in the environmental health and safety area. So the Occupational Hygiene Training Association has done a really good job of developing this model, which I think can be used again as a model for other organizations, other training areas.
And thanks, Mark, for sharing today.
Happy to do it, Dustin.